So this week on Low Earth Orbit, we're reviewing Toy Story of Terror. Now, this is the latest installment in the Toy Story franchise, but it's actually not a full film. It's a 21-minute television short that was originally broadcast last Halloween. And it's written by Angus MacLean, who is who also happened to have written and directed Bernie, which was the short that went along with the DVD release of WALL-E, and Small Fry, which was the Toy Story tunes, which there were 3 that preceded this television short after Toy Story 3 came out. And the basic concept for Toy Story of Terror is that, the toys get packed up and brought on a road trip. And along the way, the car breaks down. They have to go and stop at this, roadside motel, or the Sleepwell motel. And, a lot of the usual horror movie tropes ensue as they're, stranded there overnight. So, Justin, what did you think?
I thought it was good. I think all the Toy Story shorts turn out to be really good. I still think my favorite is Partysaurus Rex, but yeah, they're all good, and this one was good too. I liked how it was a little bit meta at times, where they would sort of like really call out, like, oh well, this is going to happen because that's just what happens in horror movies, right? But yeah, it was good, and yeah, it was enjoyable. And there's some spoilers things I guess to talk about later on, but it was fun. I mean, I think it's in the same vein as the other ones. It's a bit longer. I think the other ones like Small Fry and Partysaurus Rex and all that stuff were only a few minutes. This is more over 20, so it's good.
Cool. So Scott, what did you think?
I actually really love this. I was kind of shocked. I don't know. For me, this is like the perfect Toy Story short. So I've seen the other 3: Hawaiian Vacation,
Small Fry, and Partysaurus Rex.
Partysaurus Rex is a special place in my heart. But as far as like, the thing that blows me away is that this is almost like it has the meat of a full Toy Story feature-length movie. It's just if you cut everything else out. So you just cut off the B-plot, you cut off the little side conversations, and you just have the very extremely minimum focused story. And you get all the same notes. Like you get all the same sort of like, they set something up, somebody has to sort of like change into somebody that they're not usually. And even in that very short period of time, at least for me, I actually really, Jessie ends up playing a very prominent role, and I was like affected by what she did. And it's incredible how quickly, they've gotten so good at these things, how quickly they can set something up, add new characters without much kind of fanfare, and like execute it on a story and like have it like believable and fun to watch and engaging. I think it's like the perfect Toy Story short. I mean, I was really pretty blown away.
Yeah, I guess I'm the minority here, and
really?
that I enjoyed watching it, but my expectations were not met. Like I really liked the shorts, and
the other ones you mean?
Yeah, I mean the ones that were like really short, right?
Yeah.
That were like 3 to 5 minutes, as opposed to this one was like 21 minutes long. And so I really liked all 3 of those ones, and this one just felt like it was like this uncanny valley, sort of lengthwise, where it felt like it was trying to be feature length, but didn't have enough time. And so it just felt like the pacing to me felt off. Like they were just sort of stuffing a feature length film in this 21-minute thing. And so like there were just like these cuts that just felt like they were just, it felt like there was clearly stuff that was being cut out, and the cuts were just brutal because they had to fit this 21 minutes because it was broadcast on television. And so that was distracting to me. And then the plot, I mean, I really like that Jessie got kind of to be more center stage here. That was really great. But I thought the plot felt like it was recycled from Toy Story 2. It was a similar, same exact thing, like where there's this collector guy and he's like stealing his toys, and they like get shipped off, and I mean it's not exactly the same, but it felt like, oh really, this is all you could come up with here, and that was a bit disappointing. But honestly, that I disliked it. I mean, I totally would watch it again, but I mean, there's a pretty high bar in my mind for finishing the entire Toy Story franchise. And it kind of kind of sort of ratcheting up, and this felt like kind of a step backwards from that quality in general. Not to say that it's not great. I mean, I really loved the additional characters. We can talk about them in the spoiler section. They're hilarious. And then there's that when you buy this thing, it's like it shows 45 minutes at least when you buy it on iTunes. And I was like, oh, and it's only 21 minutes of actual show. So the rest of it is sort of filled up with just a lot of like interesting content. So it includes the shorts. Those are the previous 3 shorts.
It's like the mega pack of like Toy Story shorts.
Yeah, but also includes like this awesome sequence of like 3 retro commercials for some of the toys that we'll talk about through the spoiler break.
Yeah.
which are really
in period, in style, like,
amazing.
Oh, nice. I actually didn't see those.
Oh, are you serious?
I'll have to watch them. Yeah.
so good.
And there's actually some. Well, I guess it wouldn't make sense in this case, but they did something similar for what was the bear from Toy Story 3?
Something
yeah.
hugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever the purple bear is, they released like on YouTube. They released a commercial for him.
Oh, and it looked like it was taped off VHS.
Perfect.
Oh,
it was
awesome.
maybe even better than the ones that are included. It wouldn't make sense here because that character's not in the short.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's they've perfected the period style mimicking of a Toy commercial.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, the other thing that I also liked about this was that Mr. Pricklepants got to play a more significant role.
To me, that was almost like, I think that was the thing that catapulted it beyond a good short into making it amazing. Because the first 5 minutes, his commentary, I was laughing out loud. Like, I thought it was just hilarious how it was like commenting on all the tropes and like kind of, jokey, like, oh, this isn't actually going to happen. And then it happens. And
he sort of has the role of the narrator.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In this like, sort of blink, nod kind of way, which is pretty great.
Yeah. And everyone's like, and it's funny because they start with, the Toy Story characters are like talking to the character in the movie they're watching. Mm-hmm. There's sort of a nesting doll effect. So they're watching a horror movie and they're like talking like, no, don't do that. And I found myself thinking, watching this, like, don't say that. Of course somebody's going to disappear if you say they're going to disappear. Yeah. But
the little horror movie within the film was also pretty great too. Like they do like this little flake rubber bat thing. It's really cheesy, poorly done, poof, deliberately poorly done. Like it's just it's a great spoof of cheesy old horror films.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I guess for me, like, it was, I really, really liked the other three, but I think for me personally, I found myself literally laughing out loud multiple times in this one. And the other ones, there were little takes, but I just found them entertaining as a whole. But this one, I was like, I legitimately thought it was hilarious, particularly because of the narration stuff and like, or whatever that's worth.
Yeah. I get that. I had less laugh out loud.
Length thing.
The other thing that I didn't like so much about this one was the music. So Toy Story films have all had Randy Newman score them, and this one had Michael Giacchino, who's I like Michael Giacchino a lot. I think his score up is phenomenal. But sometimes his scores can just be kind of forgettable, and this was like that. And I feel like Toy Story all of them have had a very distinctive sort of sounding score, and they feel so cohesive.
Is that the case with the other shorts? Do they usually? Because I don't know.
And they're so short that like I don't think they don't have enough long enough duration to really develop any sort of themes. Mm-hmm. And maybe this one was too short as well. But I mean, there was still a lot of music because it was trying to like sort of evoke this horror movie feeling to it, and so it did play a more noticeable role here, but it just felt kind of generic and uninspired.
I get that.
And I felt like it would have been better had Randy Newman actually scored it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have more we got to talk about in the spoiler thing because there were a couple of like really funny moments. So
cool. So I mean, but overall, I think we all generally recommend it. I mean,
as a whole,
whole for sure. Yeah. I mean,
whole package.
The whole package. I mean, I bought on iTunes. So the iTunes extras are great. Like I actually really liked a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that they did, and included in the iTunes extras.
Probably in the DVD if you still have one of the spinning disc drives.
Yeah. Yes, I believe they probably. There. But yeah, I think overall, highly recommend it. And it's not that expensive,
especially
either.
If you haven't seen the other short. Like you need to see that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so if you have any feedback, you can send that to us at feedback@lowerearthorbit.fm. You can find us on Twitter at Low Earth Show, and you can also find our YouTube page at Low Earth Show as well.
YouTube.com Low Earth Show.
Yep. And if you're looking for any show notes for anything that we mentioned over the course of this episode, you can find that at our website, lowerearthorbit.fm.
And there is an outstanding, I think Justin mentioned it last time, when we hit a next subscriber sort of milestone, we'll do something else cool. I have an idea for what we could review.
Nice.
I think we maybe should do another retro review because that worked out so well.
Nice, yeah.
We should talk about it, but I think 50 is the number you'd mentioned, so I think that makes sense.
Yeah, well, okay. I can agree with that.
Cool. So come back also when we have 50th YouTube subscriber.
See, if you hit subscribe, we'll get there even faster.
Right. So, and trust me, you want to see us review retro movies because, as we know from last time, it's very entertaining.
Yeah, works out well for you.
Cool. All right, so now we're going to cut off to the spoilers. So again, if you have not seen the show, please go off and rent it, buy it, whatever you want to do to to get it, it's definitely worth worth the price of admission to get that and all the the other shorts and the extras that come with it. And we'll be here with spoilers when you get back. All right, spoilers.
The one that occurs to me, and it's not early on, it's kind of at the end, but I thought it was hilarious how the cops come in and they call him on, having stolen the toys. And then he's like, there's a sequence of events that happens so fast, but it's so funny. He's like, sneaks out in the back, you hear him running around, gets in the cop car. He's like, I know you shouldn't have left the keys in the car. Backs up, like he's going to get away, and he hits the telephone pole smashes him. It was like, that was perfect. Like
that was really great.
And he gets out and takes off, and the cop does a little shoulder walkie-talkie, like, we got a runner. But they're totally nonchalant about the whole situation. Like, this guy's stealing their cop car, and they're both just like, I told you so.
That and some of the moments with the iguana, the dogification of the iguana. And see, for me, this kind of holds a special place in my heart because I've had a lot of reptiles in my life.
So, and dogs.
And dogs, yeah. But it's funny because no iguana would ever act. I mean, iguanas sit in a corner if you're lucky, and they don't do anything. So that was really funny, and how he's kind of it's especially initially when he drops Jessie in the bowl and then hits the bell with his head, and she gets out and he picks him up again with the bowl, hits the bell with his head again. There's a lot of bell ringing, by the way.
Yeah.
But I thought the setup, even the when they drop through the whole setup to get to the villain, I thought was kind of clever, where they're like, don't leave the bag. Come on. And he leaves the bag, and then it's like, oh, somebody else leaves the bag. It's like, well, I gotta go get the guy who left the bag, and all of a sudden it's like, guys, stop. And then they fall in, and of course the porcupine guy, what's his name?
Mr. Pricklepants.
Mr. Pricklepants. He said something like, and at this point they would all, this is the, what did he say? This is the
people get separated and they all start getting picked off, and then before he even finishes the last syllable, he gets picked off.
Amazing, all that stuff. And then of course he had the glow in the dark thing, which set the mood. But I just love that whole sequence, and the whole Combat Carl thing was really funny.
And Combat Carl Jr.
Combat Carl Jr. Yes, and then what was the zipper pant?
The pockets. He was like the superhero, and he had all these pockets all over him. And then when he ran out, he was so upset. He's like, "No, I'm next. I'm the last of the Fastener 4." And there's buttons, zippers, and speed lacer.
All the character and the Pez dispenser, cat.
And
threw him a Pez.
That was really good. There were a lot of really good little touches like that.
My favorite though was Transitron.
Oh, yes.
I love the who dares to summon Transitron as he emerges from the peanuts.
Yeah, and the best part is when he takes off, he disassembles.
5 little trucks drive off.
So he's one of the commercials.
That was the best commercial. It's this totally faux 50s Japanese Godzilla commercial.
Really?
It's
nice.
Fantastic.
It's really really funny.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. You have freed Transitron. It's I can never pay. Yeah. And the other thing I like is that there's in all the Toy Story, I think maybe not the shorts, but the feature films do this really well, where it's she, Jessie, for example, says, well, don't seal the box so I can get out. And then some little thing happens where she's like, oh, I dropped the box. Oh, this is unsealed. Let me seal it. And she's like, no.
Their plan always gets screwed up in the worst possible way.
Yeah. And it kind of builds this tension, which I think is really cool. I remember seeing a talk with some of the Pixar guys a few years ago. And the thing they said was the thing that pulls you in is the feeling of real peril. Not just sort of oh, I can see how they're going to get out of this. But if you're I don't see how they can get out of this.
Yeah.
That pulls you in. Incredibles did it really well. But I like those little touches where it's oh my God, I sealed the box. It's
the whole plan was based on not sealing the box.
Yeah. So I dig that. I may have just spoiled everything. Sorry.
No. Well, this is a spoiler section.
Yeah. Also, another thing I wanted to actually ask, I should have asked it before, but so there's a Lego character in this film. Is it the first time? Awesome. The first time that there's been a Legos in a Toy Story film?
Did they call the
Lego Bunny?
Oh, well, yeah. Okay. And the Lego Bunny transforms into Lego stairs.
Yes.
And it seems like the Legos can't move on their own except by reassembling. Does the bunny ever move on its own and it just reassembles itself into a new spot?
Which actually addresses maybe the thing that you didn't like about the Lego movie, which is that it was stop motion.
Yeah. I found it really distracting. But I wasn't bothered by Legos here. I wonder if Legos they didn't want a license for for feature films, and then after the Lego movie it was okay or something. The same way that I think Barbie didn't want a license, refused a license for the first Toy Story film, and then later on after it was a huge success,
which is crazy because of how integral that character became.
Yeah.
Ken and Barbie, that whole thing is it was all Hawaiian Vacation.
Yeah, and they weren't in this one.
That's true. Yeah. And I did kind of like how they were watching the DVD player in the trunk. That was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, there were so many little quick cuts. Like it was almost like a series of like, you know, one-liners and stuff like that.
There was some quote, I didn't quite write it down. It was like by somebody's ghost you shall be remembered.
Oh, it was the
Transitron said it.
Transitron guy.
But was that a like a reference to Galaxy Quest?
I interpreted it as kind of a Galaxy Quest reference, but in Galaxy Quest it's like, by so and so's hammer you will be avenged.
Well, that makes sense because he's in the movie, and you know, he's Buzz, so like it would make sense to have that tie-in. Tim Allen is,
but Tim Allen's not the one who says that.
Yeah.
No, but he's in the.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
No, it could be. It seemed Galaxy Quest-ish.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of random to have him make a Galaxy Quest reference.
Yeah.
You know, it
would be a lot funnier if Buzz did it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Galaxy Quest, by the way. That's on my list of shame.
Oh, man.
Oh, really? Is that good? I didn't know if that was like a Justin.
It is.
Is it Justin and Steve good? That's a.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I always thought it was just sort of a goofy, like.
I've seen it more than once.
Oh my god!
I know it's that level.
Wow, that's legit.
Well, it's like it's at the same time. It's both a parody of and a love letter to Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'll check that out. We have to update the listeners on how are you doing on your Silver Linings Playbook.
I have not watched it yet.
Okay,
but I will. I've not forgotten my obligation. It's on my to-do list.
Okay, good deal. I'm excited to hear what you think.
Cool. Is that it for spoilers?
Yeah. Well, I guess we could mention that there is another Toy Story short coming this year. It'll be broadcast. It won't be. I don't know if they're going to wait a full another year to download it, but I think it's Toy Story of Time or Toy Story Out of Time. It's like a Land of the Lost kind of thing. So
it's like the 21-minute format. Again.
I believe so. It's a television special. I don't know the exact length, but yeah. So that's coming.
Cool. All right. Thanks, everybody.
See you next time.
So Justin, what do you think?
That's bad, huh? Very emotional.
Horrible, Justin. Horrible timing.
We can start that over again if you want.
Let me have another take at that one.
I'll be prompted again.
Okay.
All right. So Scott, what do you think?
Who are you?
Person to my right.
Sorry, I threw you off. Do you want to do it again?
Sure. Cool. So Scott, what do you think? we're gonna have more.
It was just so nonchalant. It was like, so Scott, what do you think? Okay, I got it for sure this time. Sorry, it's out of my system. It's out of my system. No,
I won't look at you.
Okay.
How do I do it nonchalantly?
You can start by looking at Justin and then look over it. I'll make it editing wise work.
And then it'll look like we were just having a conversation.
All right.
Buttons, zippers, and speed lacer.